Ballarat ghost town on the outskirts, the western outskirts of Death Valley. And this is the ghost town that you have to stop in that leads out to the Manson family's Barker Ranch, which is where we're headed today, which is 15 miles down a dirt road in the wilderness. We got the high clearance vehicle here. There's my friends from Sweden visiting the United States. Yeah, desert rat who's gonna be living here nowadays. Nobody else lives here, and he usually will make you some nice homemade moonshine. And one remaining resident who lives here, and see if he'll give us any advice on the dirt road that leads out to the Barker Ranch, if anything we need to be aware of. There's not so much here left. There used to be about 500 people living here. A morgue, a courthouse, a jail, and about 7 saloons, where you can imagine the debauchery and chaos that went on there. Oh, there's a giant fucking horsefly on our windshield. Here we are. There's our cabin there. There they are. There's signs of life here. This is the general store here. It's generally friendly. I've drinking moonshine with this gentleman before. We'll see what kind of mood he's in today. How's it going, man? You don't mind if I film some stuff, do you? Not at all. Okay, awesome, man. Thanks a lot, my friend. I met you a while ago, like a year or two ago. I tried some of your moonshine here.
Oh, I still got some too.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
I got some good moonshine that I just made.
Really?
Yeah. I got free samples.
I would love a free sample of moonshine. Hell yeah.
Well, come here.
What was your name again? Was it Rock?
Yeah, Rock.
Rock. Yeah, I'm Ronnie. Good nude dancing burros and moonshine.
Oh, we got new dancing girls.
That's why we came out here.
We got desert porno out here too.
Good. You got a busy day. You got a crowd today, huh?
It smells real good.
Apple pie at 90.
On the hatch.
What is it?
Apple pie, homemade moonshine made.
Oh.
Yeah, that's 90 proof.
Strong.
So I got half pint.
Enjoy, guys. Let me out here.
I got
You got a
pint.
double dip.
Damn, that's coarse.
It's tasty. It's tasty.
15 months of it would be like that storm.
I couldn't imagine.
You said
Something that
Peter Fonda.
messed up.
He was out in Ballarat, and they did a documentary. Or was he right?
Yeah,
Like
they
the
filmed
80s or
that
something?
movie, Easy Riders out here, the first part of it.
Yeah.
Then
In
about,
Death Valley.
Yeah, about 6-7 years ago, they did a documentary on it.
Oh, okay. So he was out then, because he just passed away.
They actually did two. They did one.
How long have you been here?
15.
15 years.
Been here for 15 years.
Were you in Death Valley before that, or from?
Oh yeah,
elsewhere?
I've lived out here since 1970, about 75.
Oh, okay. So
Had that mine up there.
right after your fun neighbors left, huh?
Yeah.
A couple years after them.
Yeah, I just waited until they left.
Had you heard about them back then?
He's at the Mansons.
Yeah, they were all gone by 75,
Yeah.
right? Or probably by like 71 or 72.
Yeah, I know some of them.
They still come out here?
Cappy, Myers, and
Did any of them still come out here, like in the past 10 years or whatever? Like the.
not that I know.
The old ones, yeah.
Maybe. Sometimes the followers come out here and they don't stop anywhere. They don't let nobody know.
Yeah.
Secret things that come out.
Is that, I heard, is that Tex Watson's truck out there? Is that true, or is
Supposedly,
that
yeah.
just a rumor?
I guess they got the paperwork on that truck and got his name on it.
Oh, and it has little hippie stars on the
Yeah.
rooftop and stuff like that.
That sounds like something you want to do. They make the cab black inside, make stars, and they didn't feel it was far out, man.
Yeah, that's incredible, you know, like.
Now, they might have used that truck when they went to LA and killed all those people over there. You never know.
Yeah, I was
Truck
wondering.
only talks.
I was wondering about that because they don't really exactly know what they used and
Yeah.
what vehicle they used. I don't think.
It
And
might have been that truck right there they used. It might have been.
we're actually heading to Barker Ranch right now.
Uh-huh.
Well, you think we're good in that that vehicle there, the clearance enough?
I don't know. I haven't been down there.
Haven't been down there in a while?
You might want to check that some, you got a spare tire.
How is the road nowadays? Well, you haven't been there in a while, but like, you have to move rocks and stuff while you're going, or?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
It'll take us about an hour or something, or do you think, or?
It might take longer than that. Going up that Goler wash is pretty damn rough going up there. The road just stops going south and it just turns and goes up.
Right through? Okay.
Yeah, it turns to the left. It just puts as far south as you can go right there. Just dead ends and it turns to the left.
Okay, cool. And there's people living at Myers Ranch, right? The one next door?
No.
Not anymore?
Some of them is going to come up. Some of the Myers, he's going to go up there tonight.
A friend of him?
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to go up there tonight and stay there or something?
Yeah, they're going up to the Myers Ranch tonight.
Oh, okay. He's here right now? He's outside?
Yeah, there's a car out there. But you know what? Before you attempt to go up there, it might be a good idea to check your car and see if you have a spare.
Yeah.
Because some of them rental cars, they send people out to Death Valley in a rental car. You don't even have a damn spare car in the car.
Yeah, right. This is believed to be the truck of Charles Tex Watson. Do you know who that is?
No.
That's the person that actually killed all the people for the Manson family. He's the one who killed Sharon Tate and took the girls, him and the girls. And this is supposedly his truck. It might even have been the truck they used on the night of the murders. They're not really sure, or I'm not really sure, let's put it that way. And here's some stars that the Manson girls supposedly drew or painted onto the ceiling of the truck. And it's been out here for 50 years in Ballarat. And once you come out here, you realize why things are like a living museum, a living history, and that very little changes out here. It's a tragedy that the Barker Ranch itself burned down in 2009. It's nice when people can actually have their history, have a little bit of history untouched and uncommodified and uncommercialized. But there's still the ruins of the place, and we're gonna try to make it out there today. So the family would often steal cars and bring them way back 15 miles into the wilderness on this dirt road, chop them up and make dune buggies, and that was their transportation in and out of Barker Ranch. And their patrol, they used to patrol the area with dune buggies. The case ballooned up to maybe 100 people max, and all sorts of auxiliary murders and suicides, strange occurrences began to happen, and a lot of that took place out here in Death Valley, where members stayed till long after the trial and long after Manson was incarcerated. I'm not sure exactly when the last members of the family left Death Valley. I know that Spawn Ranch, I believe, burned down in 1970 or 71, and there was also a house in Venice that some of them stayed, and some of them wound up in the Sacramento area. And obviously in 1975, Squeaky Fromm tried to assassinate the president, or made a sort of grandstanding show of shooting him with an empty gun, or flashing an empty gun at President Ford. This is the road they took every day in and out with dune buggies, the stolen vehicles they chopped up. And that's actually what brought the attention of the Inyo County sheriffs out on the Manson family, was the stolen vehicles. They weren't yet connected to the Take LaBianca murders that had occurred in LA. That happened after one of the Manson family members, Susan Atkins, couldn't keep her mouth shut in jail, started talking to other inmates in a gleeful way about the murders, had loose lips, And eventually that information got to the authorities and the connection was made. We were getting up to about 40 miles an hour, and now we're going 12 or 11 or 12 miles an hour, or 15 max. And I expect it to get progressively worse before we'll first hit the Newman cabin, and then the Barker Ranch, and then the Myers Ranch. There's going to be people actually staying at the Myers Ranch tonight. Either the owner or friends of the owner. It'd be interesting to see who actually owns, or who actually bought the Myers Ranch, where the Manson family used to live. They lived on the two ranches, the Barker Ranch and Myers. It'd be interesting to know or see who actually owns that property today. And I think we'll find out tonight while we're camping, as they'll be our neighbors. Oh, look at the mules, look at the burros. They're wild burros. Farmers left here in the 1800s and they just started breeding. Look at that, it's amazing. There he goes, there's the pack. Hi friends, look at the little ones, they must be babies, huh? Hey, pal. All of a sudden, some water.
A flash flood?
Some kind of a spring, probably somewhere around. Yeah, it's running. These insects. Ain't no minivan's gonna fit through here, I'll tell you that much. This gotta be the right way, there was no other way. Right? So there's only one way, this is fucking crazy. This is the Newman cabin. Newman cabin right here. I can't fucking describe to you the drive that we just went to. That was fucking treacherous, and we started to have doubts whether we were on the right road. And here we made it to the Newman cabin. A lot of history here with the Manson family and mining communities before then. Here's a fire pit. Let's take a look inside. The old stove you would want to use if you were going to stop and camp here at Newman cabin. Looks like it's been there since the 60s. This is the exact stove that the Manson family members would have come and used or stopped in on the way back to Barker Ranch. They kind of scattered out, there was a lot of them. So we fucking arrived at Barker Ranch. That was fucking craziest shitstorm of a drive I've ever taken. Looks like we're not alone. Here's where we're gonna camp tonight. There's the ruins of the Barker Ranch right there that burned down in 2009. fucking made it. It's been a long time coming. I've been trying to come here since the early mid-2000s. There's the old chicken coop. It's still up. This is all authentic. There's a sign, you've entered Barker Ranch. Just as it was as the Manson family stayed here, other than whatever motherfucker burned the place down. I'm gonna set up camp tonight and then go do some exploring, try to find the bunkers and the old dune buggies and shot up cars tomorrow morning. See how much light we have left. Looks like we're not the only ones camping here. That's interesting. I expected to be solo. From Utah. Beginnings of our fire at Barker Ranch. They're collecting wood, getting us going. It's our campsite for the night. We scared the other people away. I think people are really scared to camp here. And then with people looking like us showing up, they're like, what the fuck? I think we're members of the Manson family or something like that. So here we are, and we're gonna get this done before the sun goes down. Fire at Barker Ranch is officially lit. Cooking some dinner here at the main house. Barker Ranch in the middle of the fucking night, in the middle of nowhere, Death Valley. This is living. I always wanted to do this. Look at the fucking stars. We got the fire going here. Beautiful. This is the most peaceful place imaginable to wait for the apocalypse, I'll tell you that. This looks Manson era, maybe, maybe not. The bucket for sure. Wow, this creepy bunkhouse. Still people left here. Camping equipment. A little crackhead mattress. Here it is, the last refuge of the Manson family. People are scared as fuck to come here, a lot of people, at night and stay because of the energy. And if you make a wrong turn on the trail, you are done. Into the wilderness. You really have to map it out. We had a pretty good idea of where we were going, and we still made 2 wrong turns. There it is. It's our campsite. Beautiful.
I think
There's Magnus.
if we didn't
All the way from
scare them
Sweden.
off, I think the music would have
Yeah,
brought
yeah.
about
The heavy metal. They might not have known what to do with the metal. My Swedish friends met an American who moved to Sweden. But that's what that chatter's about. Here's the entrance to the Barker Ranch. I don't know who put the sign up. Obviously some enthusiast.
And I came back here.
Here we're taking a walk through the ruins of the old Barker Ranch, which was the hideaway of the Manson family, where they wanted to wait for the apocalypse and look for the bottomless pit around the time of the murders and after the murders. What you have to understand, people viewing this, is where this is located. This is about as remote a possible place in the world that you could actually functionally live. I mean, yeah, there's scientific outposts in Antarctica, or there's a space station on the moon, but I'm talking about as far as places that you could functionally live as a family or a human being. This is about as remote and out there as it gets. Either some imbecile or some fiend burned it down in 2009. We don't know if it was an accident or on purpose. Burned a piece of history that goes back 100 years, or almost 100 years. Even prior to the Manson family being here, it was a historic part of Death Valley, one of the most remote areas of the park. Here's where we had our campfire last night. Here's where I set my tent, which would have been the main room. There's a side bunkhouse that the Barkers built. That was the family that owned it before the Mansons took over the place. The Mansons never owned it or rented it or anything like that. Manson didn't rent anything. He would just occupy places. And I believe it was with permission from Mrs. Barker, who was fairly elderly at the time. This is the master bedroom at Barker Ranch. There's the hilltop perimeter where they used to post lookouts, armed lookouts. They could see down into the valley. We're going to take a walk up there in a little bit, and we're going to try to find where the junkyard, where all the abandoned stolen cars are in a moment here. It's a beautiful horizon. I mean, what an amazing place to come and drop out of society and cut yourself off from anything and everything and just start life anew. If there's one place to do it, this would be it. There's so much beauty out here. There's quite a harshness that feels like death, but at the same time, it's one of the most beautiful places imaginable, one of the most beautiful areas of the desert. This is a back bunkhouse. As I was saying before, the Barkers expanded so that their extended family could stay here in the 50s. So once you're out here, you're out here. You ain't going nowhere. This is quite remote. There's one other ranch down the road, about a quarter mile, the Myers Ranch, which the Manson family also occupied, and I believe they occupied first because it was actually owned by the grandmother of one of the Manson girls, Kathy Gillis. And I believe they accessed that property first. And then Manson must have found this and set his eye on it. This is the gate at Myers Ranch, where the Manson family first stayed before they occupied Barker Ranch. It's about a quarter mile away from Barker Ranch, and the story is that it was owned by Kathy Gillis's grandmother. Kathy Gillis being one of the Manson girls, one of the Manson followers. So she had recommended this place to Manson. They came out, lived here. He had his eye on the Barker Ranch, and then they mostly wound up there. They stayed at both of those places. Barker Ranch is now part of Death Valley National Park. Myers Ranch, as you can see, is private property, whom they pretty clearly don't want you walking into. In case you can't see that there, that says, "I'll shoot you." We did meet some people going up here last night who actually invited us in, but I have no idea if those people are there now. They weren't the owners, they were friends of the owners, so I don't think I need to be shot today, so perhaps we will arrange to come here at another time through the gentleman in Ballarat at the ghost town. He knows the owners, so we'll look to do that next time. But here's the perimeter of Myers Ranch, where the Manson family hid out, the second to last home of the Manson family before the prison system became the home of the majority of them for decades to come. They've actually put a monument up to mark it as a historic place, which is kind of unusual. I mean, you see that with old crimes of the Old West and things like that, but in this case, Manson just died in November 2017, and you still have some of the Manson girls involved in the murders in prison, so it's quite unusual that you see basically a plaque or a historic plaque to people that are still in the penal system in the California prison, basically like a monument to sort of to the history here, but for prisoners that are actually still alive and serving time in prison, which is quite unusual. So you don't usually find a plaque commemorating current prisoners, as Leslie Van Houten, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Tex Watson are still imprisoned, the ones that actually did the dirty deeds of the Tate and LaBianca murders in August 1969. Here's the chicken coop over here. This is all still original, just as it would have been in the 60s when the family was here. You can see this rusted metal paneling. That's the same material they made the roof out of, that the Barker Ranch, the roof used to be made out of. I don't know where the roof went. It wouldn't have completely burned up in a fire. Somebody probably carted it off somewhere to the junk pile, the scrap metal pile. It's a beautiful place to camp, though. Extremely difficult to get to, which is probably why it even lasted till 2009 without some schmuck burning it down. My theory on that is there was so much national press on this in 2008 when they had some cadaver dogs here sniffing the property, and they believed they hit on human remains. So they did an excavation around here trying to dig up possible additional victims of the Manson family, additional murder victims. They found nobody buried out here. There had been rumors that there were bodies buried out here from some family members and others, and there was also one or two missing people in the area, that they unsolved missing people. So they did a whole excavation out here in 2008. There was a ton of press, and there's a little lizard crawling around. There was a ton of press about it, national press, and that probably attracted some schmuck to come out here. They probably set a fire right in the Barker Ranch itself, in the fireplace, and that probably set it off from there. That's if it was accidental. I think that it also could have been somebody just angered by the whole thing. The whole Manson saga invokes fury, absolute fury, in people that were alive and growing up around that time. Just the whole element of it, the counterculture element of it, the violence of it, the savageness of it, it all invokes quite strong emotion. They're not as disconnected from it as we are now. It was a big thing in the consciousness of society. So it also could have been somebody like that, who just with spite for the Mansons and didn't want it to be a shrine to the whole saga that had occurred. It gets quite creepy here at night and quite a lot of energy. A lot of the videos that I've seen made on this place, the YouTube videos and other people coming out here, generally a day trip. I don't think a lot of people get the idea to camp here. We did see one set of campers. They seemed pretty square. They didn't seem like they were even interested in Manson or anything like that. I think they were just random campers who happened to come upon this campsite. And we scared them off. Let's put it that way. We didn't try to. We just did. They took one look at us. They probably saw my Bowie knife and our long hair, and they're like, oh, here we go. This is quite interesting. I mean, this is 1960s cans you see around here, and I love the fact that nobody disturbs this, that people have the courtesy to let history lie where it lies. But that would be 60s. You see the pull tab openings on the beer cans, and I hope that we're going to find a lot of stuff like that littered about. You find stuff like this, the same sort of level of rust and decay at places around Spawn Ranch, if you know where to look. So what do you say? You guys ready to move in and start a cult, or what? Yeah. You can have cats. And here it is. This is pure Manson Family. One of the stolen, chopped up vehicles, riddled with bullet holes. The Manson family supposedly had a large cache of weapons. By the end, as things got more and more and more apocalyptic, there were more and more and more guns and artillery involved among the members. And as I said, you can imagine the level of paranoia after some of the activities they had done, that they knew there was going to be some kind of a bad end or a standoff or a war. Just riddled with bullet holes. And this is like a living museum of history, simply because of the fact that no one wants to be bothered to come move this shit out of the remote middle of nowhere, because it would take a lot of money and expense to ruin. Anything else, they would just destroy it. If this was anywhere closer to Los Angeles, all this history would have been destroyed. Some person from the government would have destroyed it, or some greedy developer, or somebody angry, or some religious person, or someone who just doesn't want people to have their history. And that's what's so wonderful about Death Valley. You come out here and you have your history. It's sitting right here in front of your very eyes. Non-commodified, non-commercialized. No one's charging you an admission fee to come see this piece of fucking amazing history right in front of your face. Occult history, counterculture history, crime history, California history. Right here you can see really faded within the bullet holes, it says Helter, and that looks original too. It looks original or very old. No one has done that in anywhere near recent times. That's probably Manson family graffiti, Helter Skelter. Riddled with bullet holes, man. They're having machine gun practice on this fucking thing. Just the age-worn metal and decrepitness of some of this stuff just adds to the whole feeling. It just makes perfect sense in this environment. It's symbolic of all that happened here. I don't think I found one piece of metal not riddled with bullet holes yet. I'll keep looking. I'll let you guys know. If action went along around here. I heard that up on the hill there, that's where they would post lookouts and sometimes sleep. I imagine there was a level of paranoia by the end where they were actually anticipating or expecting possibly being raided. That's just my what I would surmise with all the crimes that were being committed. This is not from campers. All these fucking cans, all the way back here. It just doesn't make any sense. If this was just litter from random campers over the decades, it would be close to the main camp. Here's pipes. I'm assuming that's piping in water from a spring. Rusted out pipe. It's a graveyard of... This is their garbage dump, I guess. Damn, you want to just say that all this stuff is Manson family era. It sure fucking looks like it. That it's here undisturbed from that time, which is amazing. But, you know, things rust quite fast. You kind of almost have to look at the structure of the can. When you see the pull tabs, that's definitely late 60s. This is... can't look like canned meals and things like that. And it does actually look... At first I was like, no, this has got to be shit that people threw here in the 80s, 90s, or whatever. It rusts out. But when you look at it, man, it looks 60s. Not that many people have been out here, like I said. I mean, it took me 15 years to get out here, for fuck's sake. And I'm actually interested in this stuff, you know? Yeah, that's how we used to do with the cans, the juice, and do those 2 puncture holes. And we passed the town. When you come in from the 14 in LA, you pass through this absolutely decrepit, Lovecraftian town, almost like reminds me of a shadow over Innsmouth. It's called Trona. I mean, the people are just, they seem like inbred or just something, some strange force like in their minds. They almost seem brain dead, like zombies, and everything, every store is shuttered. It's like a ghost town, like a modern sized ghost town. The supermarket is shuttered. The gas stations are shuttered. We pulled into a gas station, there was no gas. And just this sort of fiendish looking man with gaps in his teeth and sort of slow eyes and large gap between his eyes. So monstrous sort of fellow just pointed us down the road, and it just seemed people devoid of souls in this town. And that's like your gateway to Death Valley. You go through this town, and it has a weird stench to it. Like the only thing in town is this weird factory or mining operation, which I'm sure is the only employment there. It's much more ugly and industrial feel than the natural beauty of Death Valley. Don't get me wrong, Death Valley is harsh and Death Valley is brutal. But Death Valley is also one of the most beautiful places in the country too, if you really have the will to experience it. Awful, awful, unmentionable things that occurred here on Barker Ranch. Just imagine the depravities that took place up in the hills here. The creepy, creepy hills with eyes. This must have been the inspiration for that movie. Imagine the LSD-fueled orgies that took place right on that mattress there. Can you envision it, guys? Yeah, the Barker Ranch itself is pretty basic. Not that large in size. It's large enough. It's comfortable. And then they had, as I'd mentioned, built a few bunkhouses to accommodate the large family before the Manson family. We're talking about the Barker family that lived there. And of course, that was convenient enough when Manson and his followers moved in. There was plenty of space for them, who I imagine were spread out between the main house, the bunkers, and some of these, the main house, the bunk houses, and some of these bunkers they built out up here in the hills behind the place. It's like you were right there, like it was yesterday. I found a body! I found a body! You excited? Did you guys believe me? Not even for a millisecond? Oh well, nothing's shocking anymore, I guess.
Sacred oath in hostile throes of martyrdom, dying in a land of unknown. Revelations unleashed upon victims of sacrifice, spilling in their blood and their bone. The enemy has struck today and marched toward the kingdom they fought across crumbling walls. Set thine enemies aflame and vanish all from sunlight. 100 years of darkness left to wander. All the blood of the prophet has been spilled, and the visions of the wise are now known. Hallucinations spin my mind in free-falling vertigo, mirror of the unconscious fate. My mind is so decayed that spirits haunt me in sunlight in ways that cannot be tamed. Prophets and evangelizers stand in dead silence, knowing there's nothing left to say. I'm far, far along upon my path to destruction, from which I can never be saved. All the blood of the prophet has been spilled, and the visions of the wise are now known. Serpents of the darker age rise up upon the water's edge as we approach the ending of days. We're far, far along the path to world destruction, from which we can never be saved.